Power of Visualisation, Hidden Codes, Christina Sargentson. A few years ago, I assisted in a programme with a group of people who wanted to get more out of their life. These people society had written off for all sorts of reasons. One of the men who attended, Terry, really stood out. He was a musician and had written some famous songs. He'd also toured with the Rolling Stones and many more famous bands. Terry had had a massive stroke a couple of years before, which had left him unable to walk. He also had little movement in his arms, so he felt really miserable, and he showed that in his demeanour, the language he used and his attitude. He felt he no longer fitted in anywhere. He didn't get much peace at home either. Terry had a young wife, and although she was brilliant and did everything for him, it made him feel even worse about himself. He felt a burden to her and to his small children. He felt useless and worthless, and as you can imagine, his self-esteem was on the floor. The programme took the group through a journey of self-discovery. They were asked what their goals were for their lives. Of course, many of them asked for riches beyond their wildest dreams, but not Terry. He'd already had those, and now what he asked for was the ability to walk again, something that many of us take for granted. Terry was told, however, that this was impossible by his doctors. Terry came to the programme for many weeks, and he would come into the group and say, "I still can't walk." As part of the programme content, the group looked at their belief systems and the positive psychology as well as visualisation, all of which began to work for the rest of the group, all of them except Terry. He was very impatient and wanted to walk again. He was so grumpy and radiated misery out to everyone he sat with. After 8 weeks, he still had a very negative mindset. He kept saying to me that he was visualising himself walking, but as he said, "This is a load of rubbish. I'll never walk again. I know I won't. I have been visualising myself walking, but my legs still won't work, and I'm still sitting in this bleep bleep chair." I asked Terry, "Do you believe you'll walk again?" He looked at me and said nothing, just mumbled angrily, saying, "What had that got to do with it?" I looked him straight in the eye and said to him, "Everything it has to do with it. It's not just about being able to think positively or being able to visualise it happening. You have to believe it will happen, and your mindset has to be positive, and you can't let any negativity in. You need to keep thinking and believing you will walk. These are the hidden codes we all have within us. We need to make them shine through even though we think things are impossible." The following week he came into the session for the last time. He looked very different. He had a smile on his face for a start. His skin tone was different, and he asked me to stand back from his wheelchair. Everything went very silent in the room. All the people looked at him. The tension mounted as he began to pull himself up, slowly by the arms of his wheelchair. The silence was deafening as he began to move one of his feet onto the floor. Slowly but surely. Carefully he moved his other foot onto the floor, where he stood slowly, looking around at everyone and enjoying the attention. He grabbed for his stick from the side of the chair. Slowly he took 2 steps forward away from the chair. Carefully he walked onto the floor, taking very small steps, but smiling all the way. Everyone held their breath as he looked at me and said, "I believe now I can walk again."